Hey everyone, and welcome back to another CodeAccessHub Explainer. Today, we are diving deep into something that feels like a real contradiction, something we're calling the blockchain security paradox.
So you've probably heard it a million times, right? Blockchain is this unbreakable digital fortress. It's decentralized, it's immutable, it's locked down with cryptography. It's supposed to be impenetrable. But if that's actually true, then how on earth do you explain this?
Get this. A 2024 report from Chainalysis found that a mind-boggling $12 billion was sent to illicit addresses just through scams. And here's the kicker. Because of that whole immutability thing, once that money's gone, it is gone. Getting it back is next to impossible. That is a huge amount of cash to lose from a system that's supposed to be unbreakable. So what's really going on here? All right, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by unpacking that paradox. Then, we need to understand the blueprint, so we'll look at the anatomy of a blockchain. From there, we'll expose the fortress and its flaws, check out some real-world attacks, and, most importantly, talk about how we can build better defenses. And of course, we'll show you how to keep exploring with us.
So what exactly is this paradox? Well, it's pretty straightforward. You have a technology that was literally built from the ground up for security, yet it has become this massive magnet for hackers and exploits. The very things that make it so strong, like decentralization and immutability, are the same things that attackers have learned to turn against it. Let's dig in.
But, to really get where the cracks are, we gotta look at the blueprint first. It's better to think of a blockchain not as just one big wall, but as a fortress built with multiple layers of defense, and each layer has a very specific job to do.
Okay, so the whole security model is built on these four big ideas. You've got decentralization, which means there's no single server for a hacker to target. Cryptography is the lock and key for all the data. Immutability means the history book can't be rewritten. And consensus is what makes sure everyone on the network is looking at the same version of the truth. In theory, this is what makes the fortress so incredibly tough.
Right at the bottom, the bedrock of it all is the protocol layer. This is where the core rules live, the consensus mechanism, like proof of work. It's basically the constitution for the entire network, dictating what is a valid transaction and what isn't. It's the law of the land.
Sitting on top of that, you've got the network layer. This is the peer-to-peer or P2P system. It's the postal service, letting all the computers or nodes gossip with each other, broadcast transactions, and pass around new blocks to keep everyone's ledger perfectly in sync no matter where they are in the world.
And then we get to the layers you and I actually interact with more directly, the data and infrastructure layers. The data layer is the library. It manages the actual chain of blocks. And the infrastructure layer is the front door, providing all the stuff we use, like our digital wallets and the APIs that developers use to build cool new apps.
All right, so we've got this fortress with all these layers of defense. Sounds pretty solid, right? Well, this is where the cracks start to show. No system is perfect, and it turns out that attackers have found some very clever ways to poke holes in these walls.
And this is where things get really eye-opening. A study from Singapore Management University dug through thousands of vulnerabilities, and look at what they found. The consensus module, the literal rulebook for the blockchain, had the most flaws, a whopping 265 of them. And right behind it are wallets and the network connections. It just goes to show that the very core of the system is where the biggest battles are being fought.
This table does a fantastic job of mapping all this out. You can see exactly how different attacks target different layers. That infamous 51% attack, it goes right for the heart, the protocol layer. A routing attack messes with the network. And wallet theft, that's an attack on the infrastructure you use every day. It's a great mental map of the threat landscape.
Okay, enough theory. Let's talk about how hackers are actually using these weaknesses to cause some serious damage in the real world. We're going to look at some of the most popular and devastating attacks layer by layer.
Let's start at the very bottom, the protocol layer, with the big one, the 51% attack. If a single group gets control of more than half of the network's mining power, they can become the dictator. They can stop legitimate transactions from going through, and even scarier, they can reverse their own transactions, letting them spend the same money twice. And this isn't just a scary bedtime story. It actually happened to Bitcoin Gold back in 2018, and it cost them $18 million.
Now moving up to the network layer. The danger here is all about hijacking the conversation between computers. With a routing attack, a bad guy can actually intercept the internet traffic flowing between nodes. They can cut off certain parts of the network from everyone else, or just delay information, creating total chaos. And you guessed it, another opportunity to double spend.
It's not just about the network traffic, though. Attackers can get nasty by weaponizing the data itself. They can craft these deliberately broken transactions or blocks, hoping to find a bug in the code. If the system isn't smart enough to reject this junk data, it could crash nodes, bring the whole network to a crawl, or in a worst-case scenario, even corrupt the entire chain.
And of course, we can't talk about vulnerabilities without mentioning the apps built on top of the blockchain. You know, the smart contracts. A tiny bug in some smart contract code can lead to an absolute disaster. The most famous example is the DAO hack from 2016. A clever exploit in the code allowed an attacker to drain $60 million worth of Ether. It was a painful reminder that the code you build is every bit as important as the foundation it's built on.
So yeah, it's a little scary, right? The fortress has some serious cracks. But here's the good news. We're getting way smarter about reinforcing those walls. Security is a constant battle, and the community is always working on new ways to build better defenses.
Look, securing this stuff isn't about one magic bullet. It's about building layers of defense. It all starts with the code. You have to audit your smart contracts like crazy before they go live. It means beefing up the network with things like encryption. We're also seeing more advanced consensus rules that are tougher to break. A golden rule for developers is to validate everything, trust nothing. But, a huge piece of the puzzle is us, the users. Educating everyone about phishing scams and pushing for simple tools like hardware wallets is absolutely crucial for protecting the whole system.
And that really leaves us with this one big, nagging question. In this never-ending game of cat and mouse, with developers building higher walls and attackers finding new ladders, is perfect security even a realistic goal? Or are we just in a perpetual arms race? That's something for all of us to really think about.
Look, this space moves at lightning speed. What's secure today might not be tomorrow, and there's always something new to learn. So if you want to keep exploring topics just like this one, well, you are in exactly the right place. So if you want to stay on top of all this, you know what to do. Make sure you subscribe to the CodeAccessHub channel for more explainers every single week. We've got tons of tutorials, deep dive code walkthroughs, and an awesome community of developers. If you got something out of this, hit that like button and share it with someone who might find it useful. Thanks for tuning in, and remember, never stop building and never stop learning.